We are now on the 9th and final day of our Dragster project, and so today is about evaluating. It's about thinking back, reflecting on the project as a whole, on what you learned, on what you accomplished, on what you did. And so today you're going to be answering some of those evaluating questions. As always, you should write incomplete sentences, punctuation at the end, capitalization at the beginning, have complete thoughts, and anytime you answer, make sure you put as much detail into those answers as possible. This is your chance to let your teachers know what you've learned and let yourself know what you've learned as well as you reflect again back on this whole process. And then once you finish and you've made sure that everything in your design notebook is complete, you want to submit your design notebook. So today the essential question to guide us is, what could I do to improve the velocity of my dragster? So as you tested it out or have data for it and you built a dragster, as you think back about the design and how it looks, what could you have done, or what could you do differently if you were to do this again? If you were designing cars, a lot of times, that you're innovating, you're making those cars better as you go and as you design new cars for for future years and things like that. And so, how could you improve it? Because the goal of this was to make the fastest car possible. So what could you have done differently, or what could you do differently if you were to do this again? That's the essential question that's going to guide us today. So let's pause the video now and open up your design notebook. All right, we've got our design notebooks open now, and again, we're on day number 9. And so today, again, your homework, your task is to answer the conclusion questions and then get everything turned in. So let's click on the bookmark over here on the left. That will drop us down to the start of day number 9. As always, we want to set a goal for ourselves. Give us something to work towards today. So again, you are working on answering these conclusion questions. So what would be your goal? Again, as you reflect, how could I improve the velocity of my dragster? How could you make it better? That's the question that you are seeking to answer here today as you reflect back and you think back about this project. All right. As we answer conclusion questions, make sure you answer each of the questions, explain your answers in as much detail as you can, and write complete sentences as you go. So the first question that you are looking to answer today is, what was the biggest challenge completing this project? Now, there was a lot that you did. If you think back to the drawings that you completed, working with Tinkercad, doing the research and just kind of learning about aerodynamics. When you think about all of that, what was the biggest challenge that you had? Second question, during the dragster activities, you experienced the creative process of taking an idea from the design stage to building a working prototype. So what's the most important takeaway? What's the most important lesson that you learned while working on this activity that you can then apply as you work on future projects? Okay? So it's always good to take what we do, even if it's not the same exact thing. You might not ever build a car again. But what was the takeaway that you can say that, hey, I learned something here that I'm going to then apply it, to future projects, or maybe even other classes or things like that. Okay? Next one, list 2 different forces that affect your dragster. Where and when do they affect your car? So as your car is driving, down a track or driving on a road, okay, what are different forces, 2 different forces that act on your car? Because if you're going down a hill, if you go down a hill, what does your car do? There's forces that are acting on it. If it's going straight ahead, like our dragsters do on our track, what are some forces that are, remember, a force is a push or a pull, that either push that car, pull that car to do or behave differently. Okay, so that is your third question. Notice these first 3 questions, there's a blue background, so those are must-answer questions. Okay, then we get to a couple aspire-to-answer questions. Continuing on with that previous question, but what are 2 more forces? So 4 total. There are a lot of different forces that act on a car, but what are 2 more that act on your dragster? And then where does that happen when a car is racing? Then taking that a little bit farther, what could be done to counteract the unwanted effects of the forces you listed so that your car goes faster? If you want your car to go fast, there are forces that are slowing it down, that are pushing or pulling it in different directions to get it to slow down. You just listed some of those forces, so now what can you do to counteract that so your car doesn't slow down or doesn't slow down as much? That's kind of what we're getting at with this question. So again, that's an aspire to answer question. Then we've got a couple questions that you should answer, that everybody should answer. Okay? Is there a relationship between mass and average velocity for your results? Explain why there is or isn't. So you're going to have to go back up to your data chart. So if you go back up to your data charts right here from last class, and you look at the information, you look at mass, and you look at velocity, is there a relationship? Does typically something with more mass seem to go faster or slower? Or does it just seem like it doesn't really matter? Okay? Explain that. Okay, and then the next question, I want you to compare those two measurements. What are some conditions that could have affected the performance of your dragster's velocity when you compare it to others in the class? So if you were to race your car, if you raced your car against others in the class, why did yours go faster or slower? Or if you are in a position where you didn't race your car in class, when you compare the data from the plastic and the wood cars that your teacher shared with you, why was there a difference in the velocity of the plastic and the wood cars? Okay, so the first part of this question is just if you actually raced this on the track. The second question is if you didn't and your teacher just gave you data from a plastic 3D printed car and a wood car, why was there a difference in the speed, the velocity of those two cars? And then one more must-answer question. What changes would you incorporate into your design to improve your performance if you could redesign your dragster? And this relates to our essential question. So this is very similar to your answer for your essential question about how you could improve this. What would be some specific changes that you would make? And then once you get done with all of those, answer your summary today or complete your summary. Write what you accomplished and what you learned today, at least those two things. You can add more details to your summary as well, and then you see the end of day number 9. Once you feel like you have everything done, go back to each day. Make sure that anytime you see a pencil icon like this, that you have answers in those boxes. Anytime you have the camera icon, make sure you've taken screenshots. Make sure all of your essential questions every day are answered. Make sure you have all your goals completed. Okay? So go back through your design notebook. If you have any questions that your teachers can help you with, please, please, please make sure you reach out. We're here to help you. Otherwise, make sure everything gets done today. Take some time to reflect and evaluate this whole project for day number 9, and then get those design notebooks submitted and turned in. All right? So reach out to your teachers if you have questions, and it's been fun seeing you guys create these dragsters. Hopefully you've had fun with this project and you have something that you can take away that, hey, I've learned this through this project. All right, so reach out to your teachers if you have questions, and we will see you next time.